at your front door. How you gonna come with your hands on your head or on the trigger of your gun? When the law break in, how you gonna go? Shot down on the pavement or waiting in death row?
Alright guys, what's happening? Right now I'm going to make a video on what you should check before you take your motorbike on any ride, or especially long distance riding, because later on today I'm taking my bike on a 150-mile journey and just coming straight back the next day, so 300 miles in sort of 2 days or within the space of 24 hours. So I'm going to show you what you should be checking. Okay, so first of all, before you go anywhere, you need fuel. So make sure you've got enough fuel to last you, you know, for your journey, or if not, you should know how much fuel you got in and if you're going to need to fill up. So for example, here in Britain, and the cost of the petrol at the moment is £1.40. It's gone down a bit actually, £1.33, something like that. And at the moment I'm getting about £1 is lasting me 10 miles, so it's an easy way to work it out. So 150 miles, £1 for 10 miles is £15. So I know this tank can hold roughly £20, so this is going to last me for the whole journey if I fill it up. So you know, that's number one, I guess, is check the fuel. Now this is probably the most important thing to check, is your tyres. You want to go over the walls of them, make sure they've got no bulges in them or any cracks. You know, just check over the tread depth, and this bike's fairly new, so the tread depth is still pretty good, but it has to be 1mm here in the UK anyway, minimum. So tyres, front tyre and rear tyre, again checking the walls and the tyre itself. I'm also making sure the pressure in the tyre is what it's meant to be. For mine it's meant to be 32 in the back and 28 in the front, so make sure that they've got enough air in them. So that's the tyres covered. Probably the next most important thing on a bike is your brakes. So you go to the brake pads. I'm not going to touch these, yeah, pretty hot. So you want to check the pads there. You've got not this big part here, but the one just inside it. They are the brake pads, and I can't remember what the minimum is you're allowed on it, but you can see that's pretty good, got quite a lot in there. And then again, you want to go to the front. I don't know if you can see it there again, there. So you've got enough on your brake pads, so you want to check your brake fluid, and you've got the lower and the upper mark. It wants to be in between there. I mean, my bike's leaned to the side at the moment, obviously, as any bike is on the side stand and the kickstand. So if you want to check your levels, you need to stand the bike up straight. So at the moment, you can see my bike's leaning to the side. So just, you know, have someone help you out, or you can attempt to do it yourself, like hold it up and go down there and look. But yeah, anyway, brake fluid. So that's all done. You want to check your oil level. Again, you need to stand the bike up. There's the, on my bike and on a lot of other bikes, they have the spyglass. It just has to be, actually I'm not entirely sure on the levels on there. I think it just has to be sort of halfway through the spyglass. Let me try and stand a bike level without dropping it. Yeah, so there, you know, it's got enough oil in it. Also, the oil wants to be clean. If it's thick and black, which that is kind of starting to look like now, you probably want to think about changing it. So in the next few 100 miles, that's what I've done so far. In the next few 100 miles, I'm going to be wanting to change the oil because it's starting to look a bit dirty. So keep that in mind as well. And also just check under the fairings for any leaks or anything from the sump. You know, if you look after your bike, there shouldn't really be anything wrong with it. It's another check to do. Again, you want to check your water levels, which is here. On my bike it's just there, so you actually need to take this black fairing off and just unbolt some of these here and just get into it. That's easy enough to check. You know, it's just for that's the fluids for the radiator. My bike doesn't seem to use it an awful lot. It hadn't gone down at all last time I checked it, and I'd done about 3,000 miles on the bike. I don't really know how it works with regards to the cooling system on bikes, but I imagine because the radiator is there and the air comes in, it doesn't need as much water to cool the engine down because the air's doing it for you. I'm not entirely sure on that one, but yeah, check water. What else is there? You want to check your electrics, which is simply your lights. You know, just hit the ignition on and check that your lights are working, like you've got the parking light on there, and then once you just hit the ignition, it's a pain in the ass. So I leave it in gear when I stop it, just so it stops it from rolling. So you just, you know, neutral light's working, that engine light always comes on before you start the engine. Just hit that without starting the engine and it brings the lights on. Check your lights and the other one will come on when you put the full beam on. And yeah, I'm not going to walk around and do it, but check your indicators, your brake lights, check the light on your number plate as well. Yeah, and also you want to keep an eye on your chain. It has to, I think it's about an inch of movement, but mine at the moment is way too slack, so it's something I need to do before I go on my journey later, but it needs to be in about an inch, and as you can see that's probably about 2 inches. That's too slack there. So, you know, I need to tighten that up, which isn't a big issue, but that's another one to check. It needs to have about inch of play, about that much, rather than that. So that's another thing to check. So, you know, it's just, and also going around giving the bike a visual, making sure there's no obvious signs of damage or wear within your engine, and all your cables and hoses are, you know, not pulling, and it all seems to be intact. You know, check bolts. Just check over the bolts, make sure none of them have rattled loose, and you know that isn't the right cap. Bolts in here, and make sure they're all tight. And I mean, I know it's a lot really, and you think, you know, am I really going to spend 10 minutes looking over my bike before I go on a journey to the shops? Well, the truth is, you're not really. You know, they mainly check your bike when you're going on a long journey, you know, so, but if you're just going 5-10 miles down the road, you know, I'm not going to, I very rarely check it myself for that length of time, for that distance of a journey. Yeah, so for the sake of 5 minutes, it could effectively save your life, you know. So just check over your bike and make sure it's alright to take out. And it's also good to know your bike and know your tread depths and how much you've got left on your brake pads, and you know, stuff like that, and just to know the general condition of the bike, so it makes you feel a bit more comfortable, makes you trust the tyres a bit more because you know that they've got enough tread on, and you know, stuff like that. So you know, that's just something to bear in mind next time you're going out. So yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, I hope it helps.